Alright, legends, welcome back to another AFL26 video. Today we're talking about player ratings. I think it's probably an important topic to do with the game that I'd love to have a quick crack at before the game comes out in just over a month's time, or just under a month's time, April 8th. There it is there. So I'm very excited. It should be hopefully a good release compared to the last release they had, which was not so good. But today I basically just wanted to talk about player ratings and go through each team, just go through a couple of, like a handful of players and discuss whether we think their ratings will go up, their ratings will go down, and who we think should be like the top five best rated in the game. Basically, I've obviously put a couple on the thumbnail, which I think are probably close to being the best in the league, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. So, before we get started, make sure you leave a comment letting me know what, like, 2 or 3 players you want to see as the highest rated. Back when AFL23 came out, after season 2022, you could say that, Dusty should have been one of the highest, or Paddy Cripps or stuff like that. So I'd love to get some feedback from you guys, but we're going to go through the highest rated AFL23 players and just kind of discuss, are they going to still be the highest? And there's a couple in there that I don't think will be. And then we're going to try and go through the list of some of the players and see if we can find some big improvers. So I've got the big list on my phone here, which you guys can't see. But anyway, so in AFL 23, there was 5 players, I believe, that were rated 94. That was the max rating that you could be. I think this year they might do it out of 99. I'm not quite sure. Or they're leaving the 99 for, like, if someone has, like, a crazy year, kind of like Cripps did last year. So speaking of Cripps, he was one of those 94 rated players, and I think his rating will probably go up this year. Winning the Brownlow by as much as he did last year, I think that he is a very high chance of having like a 96 rating. And probably deservedly so, I guess. Obviously this year they haven't had a great start. He's played his guts out, but I think Cripps is going to be 94 or higher. That's probably the tier we'll play at this time. So Lachie Neale, I think, will probably stay at about 94. That's probably about where I would see him being. And then we've got a couple of interesting ones here. Christian Petrarca and Clayton Oliver, which I actually don't think will be rated 94 at all anymore. I think they should probably both be dropped back to about 90. Both still absolute superstars, but that was coming off of, a year away from their premiership, and then they went on that 12-game winning streak after they won it in season 2022 before they tanked basically for the rest of the year. Marcus Bontempelli at 94 was the last one there. I think he should be probably rated 96. I would say he's just as good as Paddy Cripps. And there's probably a couple others that I would like to see as well be rated 96, one being probably Nick Dacos. He's not even in this list, I don't think. Now we're going like 93, 92s. I'm going to try and find what he's rated at Collingwood. Because his rating's not going to be too high. But I think Dacos definitely has to be... Yeah, Nick Dacos was rated 88. So I think he's up to rated 96, definitely. His brother was rated 89, which is hilariously funny that his brother is higher than he is. But I guess in 2022, when they produced this game, it was probably the case. But so they're the ones, and then obviously in AFL 23 you had Tom Stewart and Jeremy Cameron that were rated 93. I think they both probably come down to about a 91. Both probably still superstars of the game, but just down a little bit from their premiership year, which was when this game was produced, because you had the Paddy Dangerfield kicking for goal in the tutorial, and then a bunch of the 92s. There's probably like 15 of them, so we're not going to go through them just now. We're going to go through each of the team's top 3 players and decide whether they go up or down. So Adelaide Crows is Rory Laird, Tom Doedee, and Jordan Dawson. Well, obviously Doedee's over at Brisbane, and I think his rating would be like 82 now because he's played like one game in about 3 years. Rory Laird 91. I think he goes down to about an 85 or an 86. He's still a gun player, but he's just not at that consistent, crazy good level anymore. I think Jordan Dawson's probably goes up to about a 92. He's been very, very good. The only other one in that team lineup that I would probably have above 90 would be Isaac Rankin for the Crows. And maybe Ben Keys, maybe, probably not. Taylor Walker, 88, probably pretty close. I'd leave him at that. Darcy Fogarty, 87. I'd probably put him at 88, 89 as well. Let's move on to Brisbane, though. And obviously, Lockie Neal, 94. We've just spoken about him. Josh Dunkley at 92. I think he probably stays at about 92. He's still very, very good. Hugh McCluggage at 91. I would actually bump him up to 92. I really rate Hugh McCluggage, and the stuff that he does on the field I think is fantastic as a gun player. Charlie Cameron at 92. I'd probably drop that back to about an 88 for Charlie Cameron. I think he's had a couple off years. He's I don't know. I don't rate him at a 92 to be better than like Hugh McCluggage and stuff like that. And Oscar McInerney at 90 I think is probably fair. Zorko at 89, I'd probably bump him up to 90 because he's had a great few years, especially once he lost the captaincy. So let me know if you guys have any opinions on some Brisbane players. And then obviously Paddy Cripps at 94, we've spoken about him. Sam Doherty at 91, Adam Sard at 91, and Charlie Curnow at 91. I'd probably leave them all right how they are. That seems pretty fair. Sam Walsh at 90 and Mackay at 90. I'd probably drop Mackay back to about an 88. Tom de Koning at an 84. Probably bump him up to a 91. So they're the Carlton players that I think are probably worth talking about. For Collingwood, Darcy Moore 92, DeGoey 92, Crisp 91, Pendlebury, Sidebottom both at 90. Again, obviously Dacos probably shoots up to 96 or 95. And then I think, I don't know, it's pretty hard to tell. You probably have, obviously, Houston over there now, who'd be probably rated in the 90s as well. But I think all those ratings are reasonably fair. I would be leaving Sidebottom and Pendles at about 89, 90 because they're still so good. Crisp is still a gun. DeGoey, I'd probably leave it, probably drag him back to a 90. He's still been pretty good, but Tom Mitchell at an 88, probably fair. Ginnivan's at 82, so obviously he's over at Hawthorn. I'd bump him up a fair bit. Let's move to Essendon. Merritt at 90. I'd probably bump Merritt up. Give him 92 rating or something like that. Redmond at 90. Ridley at 88. I don't know. That's probably fair. I probably wouldn't do too much more with the Essendon side, to be honest. So they don't really have any elite superstar players. Dylan Shield and Sam Draper at 86s. Yeah, they seem reasonably fairish. Again, if you guys think of any players that I've missed, I'm just going through the list of AFL23 players. So obviously, there's been trades and stuff like that I'm going to miss out and forget about. So remind me in the comments below. Andrew Brayshaw for Freo, obviously he's like a 94 to 95. Sean Darcy, their ruckman's at 90, that's probably fair. Pearce at 90, probably fair. The one that I'd really love to see boosted is Caleb Sarong. He probably deserves to be up at like a 93. Caleb Sarong's an absolute jet. Nat Fyfe at 86, I'd probably drop him back to an 82. Luke Jackson at 87, that's probably fair. Maybe an 88, 89 when he's on his game. So yeah, Freo have had some good players as well. Geelong, we've already spoken about Tom Stewart, Jeremy Cameron. Tom Hawkins is retired. Isaac Smith is retired. Guthrie, Tui is retired. And the whole website has just paused on me. Hang on, I'll just sort that out. All right, we're back. Dangerfield at 86 is one that I'd probably bump up. I think he's actually somehow playing better this year than he has over the last 4 years. So I think Dangerfield up to about an 88, 89 would probably be fair. Stengel at 88, I'd bump him up to 89 as well. Yeah, that seems pretty fair for some of the Geelong players. Probably Grind Myers I'd bump up as well. There's a couple of lower players there that definitely deserve to be bumped up. Touk Miller for the Gold Coast Suns at 92. That's probably fair. Jared Witt's at 90. I'd probably have John Noble in there at about an 88, 89. He's a bit of a gun at the moment. He's been playing some good footy. Ben King at 86 is probably fair. There's a few players they've lost like Chol and Brandon Ellis and Lukosius that could all be bumped up with their ratings for other teams. Will Power at 81 definitely goes up. Some guns in their team. The Giants, Josh Kelly, Toby Green at 92s. I'd probably almost leave them there. That's probably a fair assessment of their games. Canelio at 90 definitely drops back to probably an 87. Lockie Whitfield at 89 is fair. Tom Green at 89. I'd probably bump him up to 91. And then you've got like Jesse Hogan in there who's 85. He could probably go up. They've got some good players in there. I'd like to see Isaac Cumming for the Crows, 82. He could go up a bit. Not too much. Hawthorn, James Sicily, 90. I'd leave him there. What else have they got here? They've got a few guns. A few that haven't been put in here, like Carl Amon could probably go off. He's probably fair at 87. Jarman Impey at 86. I'd probably put him up to 87. A couple of their midfielders as well, like Hardwick could go up for sure. You'd have Chol go up. Will Day at 79. I'd be putting Will Day up at about 89. 90 almost. He's an absolute superstar. So it's crazy to see some of the ratings that have gone up. Like Josh Weddle and stuff like that. So there's a few very low ratings there. Yeah, so we've now we move to Melbourne. We've spoken about Petrarca. We've spoken about Oliver and their ratings. So probably like Max Gawn is one that is 92. That's probably a fair assessment. Brodie Grundy. Oh, he's over at Sydney now. Angus Brayshaw at 90, he's retired. Stephen May and Lever at 90 and 89. I'd actually probably drop them back to 87 and 88. I think that they're trying their heart out, but at the moment there's something going on for the Demons. Alex Neil-Bullen obviously at the Crows now at 84. I'd probably bump him up to 86. But there are a few players for the Ds that I would cut back a fair bit. North Melbourne, Jai Simpkin at 90, probably fair. Larky at 90, probably bump him up to maybe 91, 92. He won a Coleman. LDU, 89, give him 90. Ben Mackay, 85, drop him back to 71. A few players in there, probably get Tristan Xerri at 82, jump him up all the way up to 90. So there's a few players in there that definitely deserve a few boosts. Harry Sheasel, 79, jump him up to 90. Go to Port Adelaide. Ollie Wines, 91. I'd probably drop him back to 85, 86. No, let's take the Crows goggles off. Probably 88. He's still pretty good. Connor Rosie at 91. I'd leave him there. Alir at 90. That's probably fair. Charlie Dixon's gone. Zach Barter's at 88. Jump him up to about 90. Travis Boak at 88. Probably, yeah. I'd still rate Travis Boak at about 89. He's fucking absolute superstar. Georgiadis at 85. He could go up. Yep, that's pretty much it for the Port lineup. Obviously some trades that have come in. Tom Lynch for Richmond at 92, probably goes back to 82. Shai Bolton, he's obviously over at Freo now at 92. He probably stays there. Dan Rioli at 91. He's over at the Suns. Probably stays at 91. Dylan Grimes, still a gun. Obviously Dusty's gone now. Prestia, 89, probably drops back. Rewalt gone. Baker at West Coast, probably about fair assessment, 85, 86. Not too much else to report there. They've obviously got a lot of young players that need to be put in. Sinclair for the Saints, Jack Still, both 91. I think Still over at Hawthorn now can drop down a bit. Sinclair at 91 is probably fair. Tim Membry over at Pies now. I'd actually bump up probably Bradley Hill a bit. He was at 86. He can. I'd probably put him up a bit. Seb Ross. Sorry, I'm thinking of Battle, not Steel. By the way, Mason Woods' rating should go up. He's only at 84. Nasai Wangaleen Miller, I definitely would bump up to about 88. He's only about an 80. Isaac Heaney for the Swans at 92. We've spoken about him. Callum Mills at 92. Yeah, that's probably about fairish. He could probably drop back a little bit. Papley at 91. I'd probably drop him back. Luke Parker is obviously at North. Geez, there's so many trades, big trades that have happened since AFL23. It's crazy. Justin McInerney, Robbie Fox, Sam Reid, gone. Logan McDonald, Joel Amarty at 80. It's probably still fair. Eagles, Jeremy McGovern at 89. Probably fair. Kelly at 87. I'd drop him back. Oscar Allen at 87. Drop him. Yeah, that's probably fair. Tom Barras at 86. Probably bump him up. Nick Nanui and Luke Shuey are gone. Not really many more to report for the Eagles. They've had a few retirements. Bontempelli 94, spoke about him. Jack McRae, obviously now at the Saints at 92. That's probably fair. Tom Liberatore at 90. I'd probably bump him up to 91, 92. Bailey Smith now at the Cats. I'd give him 92 as well. Treloar at 90, probably fair. Caleb Daniel now North, probably about 89, 90 is fair. Aaron Norton at 90. Yeah, maybe drop him back to 88. Rory Lobb at 87. You could probably bump him up a bit. Yeah, they've had a lot of retirements too. Riley West could go up. He was only 78 at AFL23. And that is it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know who you guys think needs to have a big boost in AFL26. That's just some of the ratings. I just vaguely went through. I didn't even really deep dive into each team. If you want me to do like a proper deep dive into every player and what I think they should be, that could be like an hour-long video that we do. But yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts and predictions for AFL player ratings for AFL26. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy. If you haven't seen some other AFL26 videos, then please do go watch them as well. It'll help me out a bunch. Really hoping to grow as much as we can over the next few months with the AFL26 release and other sporting games as well. So, and just gaming in general. If you do enjoy these videos, thank you for being here. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. Peace!